Welcome in. It's Matthew and Alan with you guys for another fine UFL review from week 3. It was a good weekend so far, in my opinion. I mean, maybe we might change our minds after discussing it a little bit, but I enjoyed this past weekend's football. Alan, what do you think, man?
Yeah, it's been a great weekend of football. Definitely the teams that are coming to play, you seeing the competition level starting to rise even more. I think it's outstanding football and teams are fighting hard to win these games. There's no doubt about it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Agreed. We're going to start seeing the changing point where teams are really going to start clicking. We're really going to see people getting comfortable with each other and actually running some offense that's effective.
Oh, absolutely. You're right. I mean, it's just going to get even better and better and I'm excited about it and it's going to be it's already been a fantastic season. It's going to continue to be even getting better and better.
Yes, sir. I agree with you. As long as we can keep on that positive news chain, I think we're doing pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Definitely. It's been pretty positive. I guess the only bump in the road is, unfortunately what happened down in Columbus. But other than that, it's been very positive.
Agreed. Agreed. And yeah, we'll discuss that once we get to that
Yeah.
game as
Oh
well,
yeah, no
for
problem.
sure. But in other news, let's get right into the week. Let's talk about week 3. So Friday, the Orlando Storm took on the Louisville Kings in Louisville. They won 29-27. It was a pretty heartbreaking loss for the Kings because of the overtime rules. And so, I mean, Alan, give me a quick rundown. This is your team, man. So tell me how do you feel this game went?
I actually, man, it went actually very close to what I expected. I didn't expect it to be this close, like sudden death, but I felt as if it was going to be a very close game. It's very difficult for you to beat a team twice. And it's even, I think, even more difficult for you to play in 1 week and then play the same team again. I knew that the Storm was going to have their hands full. They are very fortunate to have left there with a win. And they were the better team. That you could just tell that Louisville was just kind of like a step behind, half a step behind, but they played better at the beginning, Louisville. And it was a very good game, exciting. And we'll talk about the ending, but I just thought it was a very close game. I expected a close game. In fact, we called it that it was going to be a very close game. I didn't think sudden death close though.
Yeah, I agree with you. It was exciting until the actual ending. But let's brief overview. So the first half of the game, there wasn't really much happening. It was kind of slow, 10-6 going into the half. They came out second half, and both teams scored a total combined 38 points. So there was a lot of action there in that second half. The Kings ended up scoring with a minute 12 left to send that game into overtime, and that was a great ending until we got to that 3-point conversion. Both teams, they tried their 3-point conversion attempts and both failed. So what happened was this game went into sudden death. Sudden death is almost the same thing as the 3-point conversion attempts, except the first team that scores wins. Well, either team, they both did not complete their sudden death attempt, but Orlando ended up winning the game because the Kings had a defensive penalty against them during this whole overtime series. Did I word that correct, Alan?
Yes, they had two defensive holding penalties, like pass interference, because of the fact that it was two defensive pass interference. They, by rule, they said it's a try that's good, and
Yep.
because of that, they won the game.
Yeah. It was pretty intense. I was just waiting to see what was going to happen prior to the decision. There were a lot of upset fans. I feel like on both ends of the ball. It was kind of a disappointing way to end the game, but I'm in the sense that hey, the rules are the rules. I just didn't know that was the rule. Uh, like I said on a previous podcast, I'm kind of happy that we did have this happen so early on, so that when it comes to like a playoff game or a championship game, if something occurs like this, there won't be a bunch of controversy around those decisions.
Yeah, and don't feel bad about knowing the rule, folks, because Jack Plummer said he didn't even know the rule. He's a quarterback, and there was a few people you could just tell when this game ended. I'm not going to say coach didn't know, but you could just tell not a lot of people knew this rule. That's just flat out. Not a lot of people knew the rule because it was two defensive holdings, two defensive pass interference gets a score. I agreed with this actual call. I didn't actually know the sudden death rule myself. It was something that, but when Dean Blandino explained it at the end of the game, and he explained why the rule was in place, I agreed with it. I mean, I'm a little biased, I guess, because Orlando won, but the thing about it was two defensive penalties equals a good successful try. That makes sense. And he said the reason why we didn't want to have guys just going back and forth all night long is to reduce the risk of an injury. That made a lot of sense. Both teams did have 4 tries at it. You had the 3, then you 0 for 3 for both sides.
Yep.
Then you went to sudden death. They didn't actually get it on each one there, and then the penalty. But I kind of agreed with it. The rule's a rule. I can understand why they want to not go on too long. You had an overtime. I mean, both teams had plenty of times to try to win this game. And I know it's a tight contested game, but at some point you got to end the game at some point.
Yeah. I agree with you on that. And it's just disappointing because the nature of it, I guess. We were trying to see a team win from that sudden death. I do want to note, though, that Jason Bean went 23 for 46 with 352 yards and 3 touchdowns. So, I mean, go ahead, Mr. Bean, do your thing. Chris Rowland, 9 for 13, 113 yards and 1 touchdown. I mean, he is looking good for that Louisville team. I'm really liking Chris Rowland. I liked him back even in the XFL, UFL early days. Jack Plummer for Orlando, he went 21 for 34 for 250 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he looked pretty good for Orlando, in my opinion.
He did. Jack Plummer's having a very, very an awesome season. I mean, it's amazing that he's had a gap in play, and he's come right into this situation where it's been very competitive, and he's played as well as he has, and he had to beat out DTR for the job, which is not an easy feat. And you got to give him credit. I think Bean played really well. I think he won the job too. At least that's the positives for the Kings is I don't think their record shows how good they really are, number one. And I think Bean I think he won the job because of the game, the way it played itself out, the way he played in this game. At least there's some positives there that you found, in my opinion, you found your quarterback.
Yeah, for sure. If he was taken out mid-game for anything other than an injury at this point, I'm really questioning the coaching decisions there.
I agree because I think, when you keep switching guys in and out, now you're past 3 games, it gets some indecisiveness with the players, because everybody has their own style and different throw the ball. And Chandler had an opportunities, but I just think he was a little gun shy, and it showed in his play. And there was some meat on the bone, and he left. He had a chance to run for a touchdown, or at least throw it to the guy all the way to the right who was wide open, but he decides to go with option C, which is throw it to the guy who's double covered.
Yeah. Well, the Kings are number 1 in passing right now. Did you know that in the league?
Yeah, they have a very, very good team. I know Coach Beck is glad and happy to get out of there with the win because they played really well, especially in game 3. And it was just a couple of things that I think they did that hurt them was, like those missed opportunities down at the goal line for Chandler. And they did have a couple of inopportune time penalties that really hurt them. But I think the gameplay all around the league has been very, very good.
Yeah. We're clicking pretty early on, and we're seeing some different things from different teams. It's not just a one-sided approach. So yeah. I agree with you. I'd like to see more in whole from the run game in a whole. That's something I think's lacking right now, but that can be improved in time. Oh, let's see. What else did we have on the Kings? So the Kings are 0-3 right now. So they're one of the 2 teams that have not won a game yet, and that's going to be a big deal in the UFL. They're going to have to win these next few games to be able to stay in it for the playoff/championship race.
Yeah, and this is the thing, if you lose 4 games in a row, you still can technically make it to the playoffs and win it all. I've seen it done with the Arlington Renegades. But the most difficult thing, Matt, when you get down 0-4 is keeping guys engaged. They know the record. They look at social media. They get to hear and I've been there before. I've covered a team that was, 0-4. So I know how it feels in the locker room and how the atmosphere feels. It's hard for you to keep guys still engaged and motivated. Not that it can't be done, but that's the biggest test is the the mental stigma of going down 0-4.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. The good thing is that there's still plenty of time. I mean, they can turn it around. So I'm right there with you. And playing some different teams, it'll be good to kind of see exactly where people stand. The double headers are kind of, it's hard to judge a team playing the same team twice in a row. So we'll see what happens.
Oh, absolutely.
With them. Now, yes, they sold 11,082 tickets for the night, which wasn't bad in Louisville. It looked completely full in terms of seating. There wasn't much room in the house to sit. The TV average for that game was 671,000. So that's a decent showing as well for the TV average.
I think those numbers are very, very solid. I mean, Louisville is a new market. To have that solid of a attendance, and even Jack Plummer did say it was loud enough in there that it disrupted them, so it's showing you that they were making noise. It was hard for them to get the plays in. 671 average is very good for a Friday night game when you had other things going on. So to me, if I'm Mike Rapoli, I'm happy with the number. Of course, he's not satisfied, but that's definitely a very, very great start for Louisville. And I'm not shocked because that's a football area, and I feel like they're going to support.
Yeah, for sure. They're loving it. You love to see it, man. It looks like it's got some great energy.
And for a team that hasn't won a game yet, it's just going to get better for them.
Yep, for sure.
They saw a good game, too.
Let's go to some comments.
Oh, yes.
Alt Football Panel says, feels more like the production team didn't let the viewers know. And I'm guessing he's talking about the overtime rules.
Yeah.
And I bet you they didn't know either or expect the game to even go into that. So you can tell.
There was a lot of people didn't know the rule. And myself included. I didn't like sudden death. Okay. I knew that if the first sudden death, the team who gets it wins. That much I knew. But with the penalties, the 2 penalties, I wasn't 100% sure. And most people didn't know. But when this game was actually kind of good that I watched it and got the broadcast version because Dean Blandino explained it perfectly. And to me, after he explained it, I agreed with the rule and it made sense. 2 penalties, 2 pass interference penalties. Basically, you get a good try.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. Once we got an explanation, it was good. And the fact that we could get the explanation, think of it like an NFL game. I mean, it would have just ended. We'd all been looking for the news, trying to figure out what happened.
No Dean Blandino explanation. Well, they would have had probably somebody say something real quick.
Let's move on to our next game, if that's okay. Let's talk about the Gamblers and the DC Defenders. The Houston went to DC Saturday, and it was not a very productive day for Houston and DC. DC won 45-7. It was almost a bloodbath. I won't say a complete bloodbath, but it was pretty rough. I know you said you didn't get a chance to check this game out live, so I tell you, it was a lot of dominance by DC. It was a lot of DC knowing what to do. Looking at the offense for Houston, I just don't think he was ready. Tagovailoa was not ready. He was not ready for his spot there. I don't know how many days he had been starting or as in practice or practicing even as a main quarterback, but it was pretty clear pretty fast that he was in over his head. And like I said, I don't believe that's all him. I think he just was not ready for that position. The Gamblers went 3-and-out on all 3 of their first quarter possessions, and it looked nasty. They had a few good plays, but it always ended with some kind of turnover, a fumble, a pick six, something that messed them up, man. And it would be almost when they're in the red zone as well. So it was really bad for the Spirit, no doubt. Going into halftime, it was 28-0 DC. It was the largest margin of victory by DC to end the game with 38 points. And it's also the second time this season that a team has been held to single digits. So that DC defense, they padded their stats really well from this game.
And shout out to the DC Defenders and their crowd. I saw some of the highlights of it. Definitely, but it's. I was wondering, like, would they just run up the score? How did it get to that big of a disparity?
I mean, they were just running the ball. They were productive on the ground no matter what they were doing. There wasn't really many issues with them. Let's see, Deion Jackson. So, for example, DC's first touchdown drive only took 2 plays, and it was Deion Jackson for a 60-yard score.
Oh, wow.
So that's a good definition of how the offense went for DC. Now, for the offense for Houston, it was just rough. He did get better as the game went on, but it's like what I like to call garbage time. They're just trying to make whatever they can do work, and that's kind of what happened. I think if he got the opportunity to practice and play, he could definitely be a better quarterback, but it just wasn't. It was not a good time for Houston there in DC. Tagovailoa went 21 for 40 for 171 yards and 1 touchdown. And like I said, looking at it's not the best numbers, but it's not the worst. Justin Hall, wide receiver for Houston, 9 for 13, 69 yards and 1 touchdown. I think that's his most used game of the season so far this season. Deion Jackson, 5 carries for 70 yards and 1 touchdown. Deion Jackson's leading the league in rushing yards and rushing touchdowns. He's got 224 rushing yards total and then 5 rushing touchdowns total. So Deion Jackson is leading the way on that running game.
Yeah, and that's what the DC Defenders' strength is. That's where if the Orlando Storm wants to get there, they have to start getting their running game, as you mentioned earlier, getting it on clicking. You're not going to expect a 68-yard run on every play, but you have to be more efficient on your running game.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see, Houston had a total of 77 rushing yards for the day, so there hasn't been much going for Houston in their running game this season at all.
And that brings up a question I wanted to ask you. That one of the fans was saying that they just think that they should close up shop in Houston, like as far as attendance, the league. I mean, they should move on from the Houston area. What are your thoughts on it? Because you used to cover the Roughnecks. What are your thoughts on the attendance and lack of support?
Well, from an overview, I'll tell you, I don't believe it's just a one-team problem, but it's definitely a Texas team problem. We've seen it in Texas, and it's not – I honestly don't think it's going to be something that's going to make or break the league either, but at the same time, if you look at XFL 2020, XFL 2023, look at the support Houston had at TDECU, I mean, the place was full. It wasn't completely full, but there was a lot of people there. You go to a game now, not much happening. And my opinion on it is yeah, there is some marketing that needs to be done. There are things you need to be doing in the community to get things going. But it's kind of an outlook as a whole for us in the U.S. too. It's a rough time financially for a lot of people. And not everybody's got the disposable income to be able to go do things. So the good thing about this is it's cheap. Most tickets, unless you're wanting a premium seating, you can get in pretty cheap to a game.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a big proponent of not shelling any more teams. Every team you shell, you're losing your fans. So, like, for example, I know many, many, many rabid Michigan Panthers fans. Mm-hmm. They're never going to return to this league now. And say Michigan comes back, they might. But any other way, they're done. And that's something we got to quit doing. We got to quit burning those bridges.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's a good point there. When you get rid of a team, I didn't think about that. There's an aftermath because of it, meaning you're starting off new, period, where somebody hasn't been tainted.
Yeah, and you can see it like in Louisville. Even they're losing, but their fans are still there. And then you go to Dallas. Almost said Arlington again. You go to Dallas, and look at that, 5,000 people at their game this past week. So,
yeah, and it's a shame. They got a very good team there, and that stadium looks nice from what I see on TV too.
I've seen videos of people in person, and it looks like a really good time. But
Yeah.
I don't, from TV, we're a little different. Let's talk about the tickets sold here in Houston. So, I'm sorry, in DC, 12,167 tickets sold. It was a pretty busy day in DC. It didn't look like it was super full, especially compared to past games, but they had a good showing, especially as the game perked up. You could tell the early game wasn't very good for those fans. They kind of trickled in there second and third quarters. The TV average 662,000, also fair. And for being an ESPN game, I believe this is a good number. In my opinion, any of the big network games should do pretty well. Fox, ABC, stuff like that. They should all do well. But when you're going to ESPN or FS1 or any of those, we're going to be a little bit more choppy on the numbers.
Yeah, I agree. And that's a very good number there. Tickets 12,000, enough for a bear snake. It was a blast to watch on TV. Someone's mentioned.
Let's go. Go ahead. Say what you're saying. I'll pull it up.
Yeah, it was a blowout there. Mike Rapoli was there, so that was cool. Shout out to D Love Sports. I did see that she got an interview there with Mike Rapoli before the game, so he was in the house, and they do the bear snake. They do well. DC is a very nice area. It's always solid attendance. The stadium does seem like it fits a lot of people. What rumors saying is that that's the location of where they think the championship game is going to be at. I don't know if that's true or not.
That's what I've heard as well, and I'd hope to know soon so we can see about trying to go.
Oh yes, I'm gonna be there wherever it's at.
I know you'll be there for sure. You'll have the coverage for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, anything else you want to discuss on this game before we move on?
Yeah, with the DC Defenders, 45 points. I mean, they're doing well as far as points. Do you think they're one of the top teams in this league?
As of this week, yes, but I'm curious to see how this rematch against the Battlehawks comes. I want to see what happens against this next matchup for them, and it'll kind of be telling to see exactly where they're at with that. I don't do really power rankings my way because everyone does one, but I don't know. As the season goes, we might have to do one for me and you. We might have to come up with our own. Reasons why.
That'd be cool.
All right, let's move on. So our early Sunday game, the Aviators took on the Renegades. This one was in Dallas or Frisco. The Renegades took it home 28-23. It was a slow game for the Renegades, but it was actually a pretty decent game in the whole. I mean, it wasn't great, but we actually got some competitiveness going. Dallas, to me, couldn't really find the rhythm, and it was evident in many of the things that were going on. It was only 14-10 going into the half, so it was a very close game. It wasn't the familiar fire off Renegades offense that we're familiar with there at first. So that's what I don't know. I'm curious to see how they play it this next week with some more time to prepare for their next game. They opened up the second half with 2 touchdowns, and then the Aviators fought back, but I mean, they could not make it work. They scored 13 points in the second half trying to catch up, but they just couldn't make it work. Tell me, what's your opinion on this one? Did you check this one out live?
I did. This one I was able to check out live, and I thought the Dallas Renegades started off slow, really sluggish and slow. And they even admitted at the press conference, I was, able to join the press conference right after the game and talk to coach and some of the players there, and they did admit that they started off slow. And I wasn't really surprised because of the fact that Columbus really needed to win a game. So you knew that you were going to get their best shot. We're going to get into their difficulty starting their game. But, the thing about the Renegades, the coach said it right. We did start sluggish. We didn't execute well in the beginning of the game. We had very little rest. And on top of that, another thing is this: we were like guns blazing offensively the other games. You can't really expect that every game. So that made sense. They came back and won this game, and it was a big win for them because they really had to rally hard to win this game because of the slow start. And it seemed as if the Aviators were playing actually very, very good ball with Todd Haley as the coach. I mean, they were like running through a wall for him. It was like another team. I knew they were going to go down even with whoever was coaching, but it seemed like they had an extra gear. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later.
Let's just address it. We'll just address it right now. So the day before the game, Ted Ginn Jr. was arrested for a DWI in Texas. It was not a good deal because it was literally the day before the game. So Todd Haley was the interim head coach for that period. The good news is Ted Ginn Jr. is back, and he should be coaching as normal. And we haven't heard much publicly regarding that yet. So I'm curious to hear the circumstances. It may be something that, it may not be anything blatant that he did.
Yeah. And the thing is, this, not to sugarcoat it, this is not a good look on Ted Ginn Jr. It's just not. It's not
or
a good
the league,
look.
honestly.
Not a good look on the league. You got an opportunity of a lifetime if you're Ted Ginn Jr. There's literally even me, myself, being in sports and covering teams. I've had people reach out to me who are very interested in being a head coach of the UFL. And when you don't have any coaching experience, like as far as this level, like maybe a prior coach at a high school or college or, like a higher level, then you getting the opportunity as a player is not something that comes across that often. And, I saw some of the comments they were saying online as far as he's stressed out, he's 0-2, about to go 0-3. So he just had to, get those drinks in and stressing out. It's not, it's not a good look. It was disappointing. It really was. I appreciate the statement that he made, the apology, but it's one of those things where you're lucky to be back on the sidelines next week.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. I didn't know what route the league would take, but I mean, I'm all about second chances and redeeming yourself. If you're coming in with the right mind, the right heart, you made a mistake, you're willing to fix it and say that you made a mistake, then I think that speaks volumes. It's just been so quick, back to back, bam, bam. So,
yeah, and definitely, I think if you're Ted Ginn Jr., you're counting your blessings that you still are able to go ahead and coach his team to finish out the season. He did. I love the statement, but he's got to now back that up. He's got to show people, I made a mistake. And the statement is good, but you have to kind of get in front of the mic and say what's up. I don't think that's, it's business usual now, but once you get to the point of speaking to the public, I think you have to just be forthright and just address it.
Yeah, you can't sugarcoat it anymore. You made the mistake.
Yeah, and a statement is good. That's definitely a great start, but I think you got to get in front of the mic and speak it because, one part about this is you got to take responsibility. If another player did that, that's not good, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous. Dallas is not the best place to drive while you're intoxicated. And I don't live in Dallas, but I've been there a few times.
Either way, it's not a good place to drive at most busy times. It's crazy, man. You got to dodge and weave. You got to be watching for people around you, not you yourself.
But yeah,
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, and
it was surprising to me that the Aviators came out and looked better this week than what they have in the past week.
It was to me, it wasn't as surprising. You know why? Because I hate to say it, but when somebody gets in troubles per se, you get this opportunity, it kind of galvanizes the team and it kind of gives them a spark. I wasn't surprised that they did better, game 3 than they did in game 1 and 2. I wasn't shocked. And Ted Ginn needs to look at that too. Like, I need to start stepping up here because somebody not only wouldn't mind my job, but they actually did, I would have to say, quite frankly, better than Ted the first 2 games.
Yeah.
The team seemed to play a lot better. I'm glad you said it yourself that they looked like a better team. And to me, they looked like a better team too.
Yeah. I mean, really, this game, the Aviators could have won this game. They went for that 4th and 12 from their 28-yard line. And if they would have converted on that, they would have had a good chance to get the win. And that one play really affected their winning. It was good to see that too. I think that's the first time we've actually seen that 4th and 12 come into a game this season and affect who wins.
Yeah, and that's why I had to put that post up. For those who don't know, I cover both the Renegades and the Storm. It's the first time in history. I don't know if it's supposed to show history that I've covering two teams that are currently 3-0. That has never happened. I said, let me. I was gonna put it up when they were 2-0, both teams, but I said, let me just wait another game. I'm lucky that for both sides, Orlando and Dallas, that they both won the game, because those were two games that could have really went the other way very easily. And Dallas was just a little bit better, especially in the second half, and they won the game. But you got to give the Aviators credit. They fought a good fight, and it's definitely, if you're the Dallas Renegades, you got to start off a lot better in the next game.
Yeah, agreed with you. Jalen McClendon, the quarterback for the Aviators, he went 26 for 34 for 230 yards and 2 touchdowns. Pretty good showing from him, honestly. They actually outpassed Dallas 214 yards to 142 yards. I thought that was an interesting stat.
Yeah, I didn't. Definitely, Dallas wasn't as sharp as they normally have been, and I actually think they wasn't as sharp not only offensively. I think they wasn't as sharp defensively too. There was definitely some lapses there defensively, and I think because of the short week, and then plus you had a situation where you're playing that same team again. I just think that makes it tough for you to. They have film on you. You just played them. You kind of know what the speed is like. It's just hard to beat a team twice, no matter who you're playing.
Yeah. But I'm curious to see what happens with it. Dallas is still leading the league in passing yards with 763, and they're leading the league in touchdowns as well with 9 touchdowns, passing touchdowns. Sorry.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, Austin Reed seems to really do great with that long pass, and he's got a great weapon there, Tyler Vaughn's. That makes a difference. That makes a big difference there. And with Tyler, if you let him get loose, he's taking it to the house. And combined with Austin Reed being able to make that long throw, and he seems to like that long bombs, that makes it very potent. So
yeah,
they need to keep doing it. And shout out to Coach Neuheisel. He's shown you he's a fine coach, and he's giving guys great advice. I love his. After they won Game 3, he admitted they sort of sluggish, but he said we're gonna get out every team's best shot. We got a bullseye on our back.
He's right. He's 100% right.
Yeah.
Tyler Vaughn's still leading the league in receiving yards, 331, and receiving touchdowns, which is 4. So that team is rolling. That communication, that the friendly bond between Vaughns and Reed is what's really pushing this team through. He was kind of quiet this week. He didn't do as much as what he's done, but it was still a good week for them in terms of seeing some different pieces come together. Day Hunter, 11 carries for 62 yards and 1 touchdown. I mean, pretty good on that note too. It was exciting to see the run game come alive a little bit.
Absolutely. Anytime your run game is doing well, that really makes your offense really strong, where you don't have to just keep chucking it back there and throwing it. Makes a big difference.
Yes, sir. Let's talk about the tickets, the attendance, 5,133, and it looked about 500 or maybe 53. Didn't look that busy there in Frisco. The TV average 968,000.
Yeah.
ABC, man, I'm telling you, the ABC and Fox productions should do good typically, from history at least.
That's a big number. They're watching it. I was one of them too. And yeah, I mean, I don't see why people don't go out to Frisco and watch the game. The team is doing great. The venue is nice. Coach even said the venue is nice. It looks beautiful on TV. You got the little Toyotas back there, and it says something Hall of Fame. Have you been to that stadium?
No, I've never been.
That looks legit. And one of the comments said, "Which one of the did you just jinx?" Hey, 3-0 is 3-0. It's hard to get to 4. I was like, let me just put this post up here because before I had to squash it because it's never happened before, and I can't guarantee it's after this week it's gonna happen again. It's getting tight. There's a long way to go, and they face each other if it goes all the way to May 15th, and we're gonna talk about that a bit later too.
Yeah, we'll definitely hit on that. No problem. Guys, I'm keeping up with the comments best I can, but running the comments and keeping the conversation fresh is a little difficult. So just FYI. That's why I like this new feature, though, where it shows it on the screen for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, all in all, the Columbus Aviators right now, they're the second 0-3 team. They've got to get a win. I mean, they've got to. So coming back this next week, they've got to be able to pick this dub up. And I think if they can beat the Renegades, it's really showing that, hey, we're stronger than what you think.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I think the biggest thing in this game here is for Dallas, if you're Dallas, is to get off to a very, very good start and have a very comfortable lead at halftime. I think if they do that, I feel as if the Columbus Aviators won't have that mental stamina to come back and fight the Renegades. That's how I honestly believe. If you're the Aviators, it's vice versa. You got to start off fast, start off good, and just kind of keep the momentum going. But I definitely, in this game, I have the Renegades winning. I just feel like with Ted getting back, and I just feel like there's too much uncertainty right now on that team. I just feel like the Dallas is not going to play as slow as they did the first game. This game that we just had, I think they're going to start off a lot faster, and I think that self-doubt is going to come into play, especially if Dallas has a really nice lead at halftime.
Yep. Agreed. Let's move on to our last game, and this was the best game of the week, in my opinion. Sunday, April 12th, the Stallions took on the Battlehawks in St. Louis. That game was a doozy. It was pretty action-packed. Oh, where'd it go? Yeah, guys. StreamYards kind of doesn't like me sometimes. There it goes. The Stallions lost 30-34. It was an interesting game, and it was action-packed, like I said. Stallions opened up the game with a pick six, and I already knew once that happened, it was about to be action-packed, and it really was, especially that third and fourth quarter. This game had a lot of interceptions, a lot of ball turnover, but there was a lot of great things as well. Good football, scoring, moving the ball. Epic game. So this, like I said, this is my game of the week right here, no doubt. I didn't expect it to end how it did. Man, it was just so much fun. I feel like this game, it was a lot of fun. It was wacky, just fun football. Whenever Harrison Frost checked in for Brandon Silvers, it was like a yay, we got our hero. And then Frost throws 2 picks immediately in his first 2 drives. And so we were like, we don't have our hero, but he ended up turning it around and did pretty good. He ended up going 9 for 15 for 148 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then he had the 2 interceptions with it. All in all, the Stallions came up short, but it could have went the other way, in my opinion. How did you feel about this game, Alan?
I thought it was a very entertaining game, and I thought it was, it had this quirky things to it. That was funny when they did live TV. They interviewed Silver's mom, and she's like, I think the next play is going to be this. She was wrong. And then the next play, he throws a pick. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Rough day.
Make stuff up.
Rough day for Silver. 6 for 11 for 76 yards and 1 interception. I mean, these balls were just all over the place.
Yeah, that's the thing about Brandon. He's a good guy, but I just think he's not seeing the field as well as he should. And crazy thing is he might be back in there playing again because they don't have much depth back there. And I just thought that was a thing. And one of the things that did surprise me, I'm not surprised with the TV average, which is a huge number there. What happened to some of the Battlehawks fans?
Man, from my research, I'm seeing there's a lot of other events as well in St. Louis, but that's not an excuse, but that's the reality. But a lot of the other events as well in St. Louis aren't having these big numbers. A lot of the baseball games and stuff, the attendance is dropping as a whole. And like I said, I believe that's kind of a reflection of the economy. People aren't having as much disposable income to be able to do these things. I mean, say you're a Battlehawks fan and you live in, let's just say, Alabama. I mean, you got to travel a long way to go watch that game.
Oh, yeah. And that's the thing. I also think that do you think it's a situation where the people are getting used to having the football to St. Louis that I know in the beginning they were trying to show the NFL up, but do you think that phase is past now?
Personally, no. I think that's what really drives those fans still. You just had a few fall off. There's a culture there that's unmatched in the whole league, and no one has that culture. No one. The DC is close for sure, but that Battlehawks fan culture is among no other. I was a Battlehawk fan back in the 2020 season, and I went to all the games before the shutdown. And let me tell you, they love that team. They love it. So I don't necessarily think it's getting tired of it, but it's just like anything else. It's a tough time in the U.S., in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just, the gas prices, the economy, we got war, prices just going up the roof when it comes to food. And you're right. You take those things for granted. And I know the UFL has done strides. Here in Orlando, they've made it about as affordable as you can make it. I mean, for $15, you got a very nice seat there in Interco Stadium, which is a beautiful stadium. And the first beer was on them,
Oh, wow.
First alcoholic beverage.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, you can't really beat that deal there. And then they gave a giveaway too of like a clear security bag. You know how you have if you bring it through the stadium, the UFL Storm. And I was like, that's a nice giveaway. And I didn't even get one, but that was, a ticket gets you a clear bag, first adult beverage on them, $15. To me, when someone asked me, I was like, I don't know what else they can do. They giving you the ticket basically for free. You're leaving there with more value than what you paid for.
Yeah. Yeah. I reason with what you're saying 100%. And places like Orlando, that's a different conversation because how many teams have been there? That's a rough one, that in my opinion. You could have started that at any big city without a major NFL team, and I guarantee you'd have some success. You may not have massive success, but look at Louisville. That's my example.
Yeah, I think they really wanted to have a team where they both live, and that's
It makes
Danny
sense.
and Mike Rapoli, and you can't really argue that they made the investment.
It makes sense. And that's what I mean. That's my thing is make the decisions and stick with them. Don't give up next year. Don't switch Orlando to go back to Michigan next year or anything crazy. We want everything to stay the same and be consistent. It would be great to have an off season that weren't discussions about axing teams and mergers and what day this is happening or if this is happening at all. It would be cool just to talk off season, like straight up.
So no attendance, like what's the word I'm using for no attendance ultimatums. No attendance ultimatums. You don't make this, we're getting rid of the Stallions. It's good for us not to have that type of talk, you're saying.
Yeah, especially if you're looking at cities that are low, such as Dallas or whatever. It's like, I don't know, man. If you look at something like the USFL back when it was going, when XFL and USFL was going at the same time, there was nobody at those games. Not in comparison to like XFL. So that's kind of what, look at the two and see what the differences are is kind of my thing.
Yeah, you're right. So it'd be nice to just go through with no changes and no ultimatums.
Yeah, for sure. consistency. A lot of people are just rubbed off wrong at this point, and I can understand if you've invested a lot of time, money, and energy into a team, and it's just axed, and you have no say so in what's happening.
Which brings up a good point. What are your thoughts on Brahma Babe? I know that they chimed in here and asked about it.
Oh, I love Brahma Babe. She is a great spirit amongst the UFL, and she is a great supporter, one of their best supporters. Seriously, she spends a lot of time, money, and energy
Oh yeah,
doing what she does. So, respect to her. Any of the super fans, really, they honestly they don't do it for themselves because it's a love. It's for the love of the game and then the love of the people, entertaining people. So, much respect to
yeah,
her.
definitely, and just the amount of love she puts into this, and traveling, the resources, the time off, and that's not easy, and I feel for the Brahmas. And the thing is, I feel for them, but I also, when I talk to Mike Rapoli, one of the things you can't really see on camera is I could kind of feel his heart and could tell he didn't really want to do what he did, but his vision and they just didn't fit in that box,
Yeah,
and that was like one of those tough business decisions. Like where he wanted to go and where the Brahmas at, I understood where he was coming from. Is it a favorable move? No, but I get what he wanted to do. Like I want a smaller venue. I want a more soccer stadium. Unfortunately, San Antonio didn't have what he was looking for. So did Michigan. And that's why those teams basically had their demise, unfortunately.
yep, and I can respect those decisions because he's sticking with them. He's not just saying something and then leaving the scene. He's here. He's dealing with the ground running on everyone's feedback as well.
Yeah. And he's been keeping his word. Meaning these are the venues we've been pretty much seeing, like soccer stadiums, smaller venues, even OKC.
So I mean, in St. Louis, we saw 20,209 tickets sold. That's a low number for St. Louis for
For
sure.
St. Louis, yes. I mean, it's a big number for the UFL, but low for St. Louis.
Yep.
That's concerning. Usually that number is 29. We're used to see it like in that 28 at the lowest. But the TV average is very solid, over 1 million. I
Yeah.
watched the game and I had to cut watching it because I had to jump into that press conference. But I did watch it. I did see where they did the interview with the Brandon Silva's mom, and poor mom, she had to be on live while he go throw a pick.
It was a rough night for him.
Yeah, it was.
Frost came in and won the game for him. I mean, he made himself look great. And Hakeem Butler, 4 for 8, 146 yards and 1 touchdown. He was actually the UFL Offensive Player of the Week. I mean, all he has to do is get it in close to his hands, and that man is going to grab that ball.
Oh, yes. And the one that he did catch, I don't know how he pulled that one. It was such a thread the needle type throw. Props on that throw. I actually thought he didn't catch it for a second. That's how tight that window was. But he caught it, and that's a question I have for you. I know that there isn't guys in NFL that's 32 guys that are better than Hakeem Butler. I just find it hard to believe.
Politics, my friend, and not government politics. It's a whole different set of politics in the game and scope of things.
Yeah, that's it. You're right. It's got to be that because my man be balling out. He's been doing it for a while too.
Yeah, I mean, he is a beast, and that's one of the athletes I'm glad stayed in St. Louis. That's a good figure to head that team or whatever you want to call it. Man, just awesome athlete. I hope I get to meet him in person someday. He's one that I'd really like to meet.
Yes, and Jim Fisher said it right there. NFL is full of politics. It is. It is. And I've covered the NFL Super Bowl. I could tell you there's a game within a game. And if you're not part of that inside game where the real play goes, you have a hard time. And you don't always all know all the politics, but if you're in that inner circle, you'd know. But there's a lot of politics involved.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
Yeah, even like I've been to a few Saints games as media, and even media there's
Oh yeah, the
politics
media has to
involved.
deal with politics
And you're like,
110%.
wow, this is crazy. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
exactly what you're saying.
yeah.
So let's talk about the TV average. 1 million. We did pretty good there, right?
Oh yeah, that's and I was one of them because I watched that game and that's encouraging. At least you didn't have a little bit drop off on the ticket sold physically, but the average, the TV average, they got to be happy with that number. And I just hope some of the Battlehawks fans they come back.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I was looking at some stuff from last year. Mike Mitchell was posting his numbers. He used to post his weekly
Yeah,
attendance numbers and such, and he pulled a TV number. This is from last year. I wanted to pull it up. Let me see. You got to find it. My bad. Here we go. All right. Let me pull this banner down. Okay. So we see here, this is week 3, 2025 season. Oh, whoops. Don't want to go there. The St. Louis game here, 967,000 average with 1.4 million peak viewership. So we beat that 2025 number.
yeah. So that's always encouraging, and I definitely do think the UFL this season will find some bright spots with physical attendance and viewership. I just feel like the word is getting around, and Mike Rapoli's doing his thing, and I oh yeah, I did want to mention too, if you are able to go to Birmingham Stallions, their game on Friday, they will have Gucci Mane there. You almost forget that there's still another home opener.
Oh yeah, yeah, and we'll talk about
Yeah.
we're about to jump into that section soon. But yeah, that I'm ready I wish I could see some Gucci. I'm ready for some Gucci, man. What I hope the TV performance is good at least.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, let's just move on, talk about the next week. Week 4. We are here. Almost the halfway point. The first game tomorrow night, the Kings take on the Gamblers. That game is in Houston, 7 p.m. Central, and it's on NFL Network. What are you thinking, Alan? How you feeling about this one?
I'm definitely taking Louisville Kings. I just think that they're a very good team. They fight hard. I think they're due for a win. That Houston beat down. I know the DC Defenders are a very, very good team, but I just feel like the Louisville Kings are chomping at the bit to get their first win, and I feel like they're going to get it Thursday night. That's what I feel is going to happen.
Yeah, they got to at this point. There's
Yeah.
save that season, man. Get some room there. So looking at the injury report, Nolan Henderson should be back, but I wouldn't take that as 100% until the actual game day. Last week, I believe Nolan Henderson was coming back as well, but it did not work out like that. So we'll have to just see what happens. As of right now, he's listed on the depth chart as number 1, but that happened last week as well.
Let's see. What are your thoughts? Who do you think wins that game?
Man, I'm feeling the Kings for sure on this just because of how the Gamblers performed last week. If they come back this week and have a fresh quarterback, I believe there is a chance they can win this game, but they really got to see it at this point. It was sad. That game against DC was sad. I hope they don't let that ruin them as well mentally.
No, you got to take it 1 week at a time.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. That's hard, though. They're the first team to get beat that bad in the UFL ever.
Yeah, that is a rough one to swallow, but it's early in the season. It's a wake-up call. You got a tough opponent right now, the Kings. They're not – I mean, they may not be DC Defenders, but they're not an easy opponent either.
Yeah, I know last week we had some people from AFN. We had a guy, Troy Bova, Zomfox. He was at the game as media. And he said during the press conference that, like, someone was just so mad. I mean, someone asked him about injuries, and he said he wasn't talking about it. So the best way to know what's going on is game day, honestly. We don't know who's going to start here in terms of quarterback for the Gamblers.
Yeah.
Let's talk about our next game. It is a Friday night matchup. The Renegades take on the Aviators in Columbus. That game's at 7 p.m. Central, and it's on Fox. Another one easy to find right there. I know the prior game isn't the best in terms of where to find NFL Network, but this one, easy place to find it, Fox. Another rematch. So last week, these two teams faced each other. We saw the product of that. This week, they're coming at it again. Ted Ginn Jr. back on the sidelines. We'll have to see if that makes a difference, good or bad.
Yes, and this game, I have the Renegades winning. I think they're going to start off faster this game, and I'm not sure how things are going to work with Columbus, especially now that Ted Ginn's back. Not knocking him, but I just feel like it's different when you have the guy that kind of created some smoke and he's on the sidelines. I just think that's going to make a difference, and I just think that with Dallas starting off to a fast start and getting a decent lead in halftime, I think that's going to be the biggest thing. If they can do that, I think they can get a win out of there much easier than they did last week. So I have the Renegades winning against the Aviators, going 4-0.
Yeah, I see that as well, unless we get an upset, which could happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it like I said, with the inconsistent offense from the Aviators, I'm curious to see how this week plays for them. Now, and I don't mean inconsistent in terms of necessarily bad, just the difference from last week and the prior.
Yes, and I feel the defense is going to be even more solid too for the Renegades as well. And I have the Renegades winning this game, no doubt.
So, guys, check that one out on Fox Friday night. What we got a comment? Let's see. Let's go to maybe Ginn should coach from the booth as a consequence. Pulling a Hugh Freeze and coaching from the box.
Yeah, this has got to be a tough first season for Ted Ginn coaching. Got to be tough.
Like I said, I'm all for a redemption story, and if he can come through and show,
No, I agree, and I'm rooting for him. I really am, but he's definitely got to get in front of the mic and the camera, I think, and address it and move on. Yes, you made a statement, but I don't think that's adequate enough.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Saturday matchup. So we have 2 Saturday games and no Sunday this week, by the way, guys. So Saturday, the early matchup, the Battlehawks take on the Defenders in DC. This is the rematch of the week 1 game. This should be a pretty good one. I'm hoping, at least. It starts at 11:30. I've got PM. That is definitely not right, guys. It doesn't start at PM. That would not work right well. Let me change that real quick. That really would be UFL After Dark. Okay. All right, back on it. So 11:30 a.m. I have got this all messed up, guys. Sorry, Alan. Can't be perfect, huh? It's at 11:30 a.m. CST, so Central Time, and then 12:30 p.m. EST. It's on ABC. This is one's kind of a weird time compared to the other games that we've had. We haven't had like a 11:30. We've had an 11 or a 1. We haven't had the 11:30. So a little different. Let me see if I got it right this time. Hey, look at that. We're good to go.
Okay, nice.
So in terms of this game, like I said, this is kind of like a battle test for DC to me.
Yeah.
Are they really that good, or was it Houston really that bad last week? The Battlehawks defense is solid. That's a solid defense, and then Teamu is going to have some trouble, no doubt, with them, that defensive line front.
Yeah, I think the DC Defenders get redemption on this one, and I think they pull this one out. I just feel like they feeling good. The Battlehawks are doing well, but I definitely do think that the DC Defenders are got a step above them, and I feel like they'll go ahead and win that game. Oh yeah, XFL Mike G is picking the Aviators.
I picked Houston for last week for a picks competition, And that was before I knew Nolan Henderson wasn't starting. So I was like, there's a chance. But I woke up to watch the game, and I was like, oh, no. That was a horrible decision. Horrible, horrible, horrible. I don't know. This one's too close to call for me. I don't have a person I want to represent on this one. I'm strictly want to watch this from a point to see who's better.
I got the DC Defenders.
So this game's on ABC. It's another easy one to find. And then the game after is on ABC as well. I think it's just a doubleheader. It rolls right into the next game. That's Saturday, April 18th again. The Storm take on the Stallions in Birmingham. 3 p.m. Central, that game starts up. Oh, this is on Fox, so not ABC. It's on Fox, guys. So you'll have to click over from ABC to Fox, but still a mainstream station, easy to find. Gucci Mane, right? Gucci Mane is going to be in town.
Yeah, that's right. Gucci Mane. And I apologize. I got to get that date corrected on one of my posts. But yes, it's Gucci Mane. Gucci Mane.
Hey, I get it, man. And like mistakes happen on here, especially when you go live, man. They follow you.
Yeah, Gucci Mane, you got a chance to go out and get that ticket. If you're in the Alabama area, go ahead and watch it. Go ahead and watch the halftime performance. Gucci Mane.
I'm pretty sure I saw there were $10 tickets to the Stallions game. I'm pretty sure I saw that somewhere. Check it out on social media, guys, if you're interested, if you don't have a ticket yet. But I'm pretty sure there's some cheap tickets out there.
Yeah, so yep.
How you feeling about your Storm on this one? I mean, the Stallions aren't a bad team. They've just had some unfortunate stuff happen. Corral's not doing too bad. He's threw a few picks in his games he's playing, but, I mean, he's productive. That defense, the red zone defense for the Stallions is pretty good, in my opinion. How you feeling, Alan?
I definitely do think there's another test for the Storm to beat the Stallions. The Stallions are a very, very good team. One of the things that you'll notice about the Stallions, they have big players, big linemen, and Jordan Thomas being as big as he is, he's going to, that's a tough to defend. I definitely do think the Orlando Storm have to start off hot and they have to make a couple of turnovers. But I do feel the Storm will win this game, but they have to bring an A+ game. The Stallions are no joke.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's going to be a battle for them.
Yes. It's going to be a battle, and I think this is another test for them. I think they got tested last week, and it doesn't get any easier this week.
Yeah, to hold up that undefeated status, they're going to have to really earn it with this one.
Brahma Babe will be there, so she'll gonna see Gucci Mane. That's awesome, man. That's fantastic.
I think I've seen her on every halftime performance on TV, at least.
Really?
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure I've seen them flash to her dancing or something at every one almost.
She's getting it. She's getting some sign there.
She is an avid traveler.
I put the date here wrong, Saturday. So, yes, I apologize, guys, for getting that date on the post wrong, but I'll fix that.
Yes. Oh, it happens, Alan. Like I said, it happens, especially when you go live. They tend to really happen.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's the week 4 schedule, guys. I'll post it all later in the notes, but I'm sure if you're a fan and you're following it, you know the schedule as well. The biggest thing to me is finding out where these games will be playing on TV, and that's kind of what weekly I'm playing the roulette on what am I watching and where am I watching it.
Yeah, you're right.
Like last week, whenever the Gamblers Defenders game was on, I missed like the first quarter, I think, because there was a church service on local television here, so I couldn't watch it. I just had no way. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with that.
Yes, and they delayed the game for Artemis. Yeah, so these things happen on TV. Make sure you know what channel it's going to be on at time and be ready just in case there's a delay or something.
Yeah, for sure. And before we roll out, let's just talk about that game in let me pull it up. In Fort Hood. So you want to
Oh,
kind of
yes.
talk
Yes.
about that?
That's awesome. You know what? I am strongly debating going out to that game because that's awesome. I cover the Renegades, I cover the Stallion, I cover the Renegades, and I cover the Storm. The two teams. I don't know if they'll be perfect at that point. We'll see. But to be at Fort Hood, that is fantastic. That is props to UFL, hats off to Heroes, and to be the first game there on a military base. That's tempting, man. Would you, if you would be, would you show up?
If you're planning on attending something, then I would probably attend this one over another one just for the experience, for sure.
Yeah.
It's so far for me, it's not worth it. But I mean, if it's how far is it? Do you know how far this stadium is from the current place they play? Are you familiar?
Oh, that's a good question.
I've seen things on Facebook, but I'm just not sure, because I didn't look it up myself. I'm hearing something like 3 hours or something is the distance.
Yeah, if that's whew. Let me see.
Let's see.
So
We've
they
got
play Toyota Stadium.
Alt Football Panel says it's a 3 to 4 hour drive from Dallas. You also need to be able to get on base. I think you can get on base by like filling something out online, though, as long as you schedule it. I don't think that's too big of an issue.
Now, that's right.
Ahead.
No, I was going to say, before I forget, because it is a military base, if I'm going to commit to go, I think it's one of those things where you want to commit early so you have clearance. I know that, you have to, of course, get the credential stuff, but you want to make sure there's a third entity that they are cool with you coming to, because you don't want to get stopped at the door. And I know how military can be black and white. I have it here. Yeah, you're right. It's about a 3-hour drive. Ooh.
It's a rough one.
Looking at the directions from Toyota Stadium to Fort Hood, Texas. Wait, Fort Hood military base. Let me just make sure I clarify it's military. But it's looking like a 3-hour drive.
It's pretty intense for most folks, but hopefully the actual soldiers can go. I mean, they're getting to go for free, right? That's what I'm assuming. I didn't see where it said that, but
yeah, I'm sure there'll be some soldiers there on base all the time. But yeah, that is 3 hours. I thought it was closer. I'm glad you said that. See, we learned something new here.
That's
From Toyota Stadium, it's 3 hours, 195 miles.
Yeah, that game is May 15th, guys. The reason they're having it there is because Toyota Stadium in Frisco is a soccer stadium, and there's a game there on the 16th, so they couldn't have a game there on the 15th. Also, just scheduling would not allow.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where I actually talked about this in a press conference, and I was like, you know what, I should go to that game, and it's something that I felt, I'm glad we're talking about it now, that I have to, if I'm going to go, I have to commit kind of soon, because you just want to make sure you have everything's good on the clearance on the base. Because if you don't have clearance on the base, then I'm definitely not going.
You can't get in anyway. It doesn't matter. They will not let you in.
They're not letting you in. They're not letting you. No alcohol either, they said. So, but it would be cool for the experience. It would be cool for the experience. So you're saying you don't think there'll be a lot of soldiers there?
I hope there is. I don't know. I'm not familiar with Fort Hood or how many people stationed there or whatnot. I have to go do a little research from my point of view to see what I think about it. But I mean, if it benefits the military members that are there and it looks good for Fort Hood and the league, I think this is a good idea. It's unfortunate though, because when you're trying to get people to your games, that most folks aren't making that 3 to 4 hour drive. Let's just be real here. You're getting 150 people to your games or something like that. You might get 20 of those to come, but
Brahma Babe, do you think Brahma Babe will show up?
I think if she can get in, she'll be there, no doubt. Yep.
Yeah, you want to request it early. I haven't made the decision yet. We'll see, but I am thinking about it. Oh, it's one of the largest army bases in the U.S., so it's definitely going to have some soldiers there.
Yeah, so
I
it should be
wasn't
pretty
so familiar
busy
about
then.
Fort Hood either.
Should be pretty busy, especially if they actually make it an event. Regular
Regular
fans are
fans
not
not
invited
invited
to
to
this
this game.
game. So I thought you could get like an online visitor pass to get in, is what my
Oh,
understanding was. We'll have to research it, man.
I'd have to even talk to the league if I'm allowed to go.
Yeah. So Jim says we were trying to find out if family members are welcome. So Jim, that sucks. Sorry to hear that, man.
I did not know that regular fans are not invited to this game.
Ooh. Ooh. So yeah, so the question of who's traveling is not even in question anymore. Like, nobody. Not a soul.
My son plays for the Storm.
Appreciate the
Wow.
info, Jim. Seriously, because
Yeah, that's
I was researching and I thought you could get like a visitor pass almost as with your due diligence at least. Not nothing you get the day of, but shows to know that I don't know.
yeah, I would have to talk to the league first to see what they would do on that. Oh, man.
Yeah, I know you'll be on it. If anybody is on it, Alan will get it figured out. I know you, Alan. And if you want to go, if there's a way, you'll be there. If not, you won't. I know you by now.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know what? The wheel started turning today, and now I'm glad we're having this discussion because regular fans are not invited. So who's going to watch the game? Just the soldiers?
I'm guessing so. If that's the only people that can watch at that point. But looking on
Soldiers,
TV, it's like, do they really care
family.
though at this point?
We're trying to find out if family members are welcome. So even Mr. Fisher is even saying he's got to see if he can get in. Wow. I did not know it was going to be that strict. Like, I know it's a military base and everything like that, but I felt like if you had advanced, tickets and you got clearance from them, you were good. It's not sounding like that's the case here. Man.
So attendance was definitely not a forethought in this decision from the league. No way around it. It couldn't be if fans can't attend.
Yeah, if you can make it to the Super Bowl, you can make it to this game. Yes, but the Super Bowl doesn't have military clearance.
Yeah, there's a difference.
Not that I have anything bad to hide, but man, you get a ticket. If you have a ticket, you can go to the Super Bowl. There's no problem. Man, I will make a decision and see because again I cover both the Storm and the Renegades. We'll see if they both were. I'm hoping they both were undefeated up until that point, but we will see. That's man.
So what? We're a month away from that date.
It's exactly a month, 30 days away. I even looked at that. I was like, man, May 15th will be here before you know it. Should I go to that game? Now I'm like, I should talk to the league first before I even think about making any travel arrangements.
Smart man. Well, I guess that about wraps it up for us tonight. Anything you wanted to cover, Alan, that we didn't get to talk about?
Yeah. If Jim Fisher, if anybody else is planning to go to that game, please let me know. Please let me know. And I'm curious to see who else I might see at that game. That's interesting. That is very interesting.
Yeah. It's like if it's out of your control, there's not much you can do with it there, man.
Yeah. And I'm not going all the way over there unless I'm going to be allowed to get in. I'm not going over there unless I'm allowed to get in. That's too far.
Well, good luck to you, my friend. Definitely let us know. I mean, like I said, guys, we'll be doing the show weekly. We did Wednesday this week since there's a game tomorrow. But if there's not a game on Thursday, I mean, we'll be meeting up on Thursdays regularly. It's just we had to move it up with the game. So
Yep.
You will definitely let us know at that point, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. I'll know an answer by next week for sure. And
are you headed anywhere this week?
This week, no. This week, no. It's going to be here. I'm going to definitely watch all those games I can this weekend, but I'm not traveling this weekend, so I'll be here. And the nice thing, the Battlehawks will be here in Orlando next weekend, so that'll be back. That'll be cool. Yeah,
You'll be back there for that, for
I'll
sure.
be back there for that, and I gotta start preparing for that May 15th game and see what is up with that. That seems like it would be a great experience, but yeah, it's 3 hours away. What
For
if
the love of the game, Alan. For the love. Guys, I guess we're going to wrap it up. Appreciate you listening and watching. If you're commenting in, thank you. If you watched after the fact, thank you also. Well, like I said, we'll try to meet up Thursday nights. If we have a game, we'll do it earlier just to that way we're not competing with a game.
Yeah,
Enjoying it greatly. Thank you, Alan. Appreciate your participation and just bringing yourself, man. Thank you.
oh, you're
Good
welcome.
conversations as always, and I look forward to next week.
Me too. Oh, likewise. I look forward to it. Appreciate all your comments too, and appreciate you too, Matt. This is always a pleasure.
Yes, sir. Until next week, guys. We'll see you. Have a good one.
Yes, take it easy.